Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Art, where I draw swords and posters of swords from the Gilded SMP, and let's just get right on into it because this was a process. So we're gonna start with the easiest part, making the sword, designing the sword, the thing I like the most, drawing the sword, very simple, very nice. We are working on the Eternal Sword, the Immortals Blade. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if that's what the sword is called, but that's what I've been calling it, so that's what we're gonna work with for now. This is Bella's sword on the Gilded SMP, and as with the last episode, we are going to be linking, or I will be linking everyone on the Gilded SMP down below, because this is about the Gilded SMP and the swords. And this sword is Bella's sword. This is, I think, my favorite sword that I drew in this trio of swords. It's just so simple and so neat, and it's like exactly the style of sword I would have drawn even if I wasn't doing this for a video. Like, it's just such a good sword. It's so simple. The colors are so good. It has a heart that is like reminiscent of a hardcore heart in the middle, which I love. And it's just like, when I was first drawing this, it happened so fast. It was the fastest sword I drew. The first sword I drew. And it was just so nice. Now the posters were less nice, which is why this, even though I drew this sword first, the video is second in the lineup. But we'll get to that in a second. Right now, we're coloring in the sword. I think these colors turned out well. I futzed with it for a while, but I'm not good with colors. Colors are not my strong point. So I think this turned out pretty well, everything considering. And it's also helpful that the colors on the base sword are very simple, unlike the next episode's sword, which gave me so many problems. But this is very simple. I'm naming my layers, which is something I never do. Though for these episodes, I have been doing it because I'm like, people can see how unorganized my layers are. Now we're just adding some line details to make the sword look better. To make some details pop more, and then I color some lines in so it's not just base black, which is a fun thing to do. And then that's it. That's the sword, and we're doing some text as well, which I don't keep in the posters, but it's, a fun thing for the individual swords. And that is the Eternal's sword, the Eternal's Blade, whatever we're calling it. And we'll move on to the... oh god. We'll move on to all of the poster things I did. This is gonna be basically a montage of 6 or 7 tries of me trying to make this poster work. So, let's just get started, and I'll play it in 3, 2, 1, go. So, this poster gave me a lot of problems. The thing is, as I mentioned in the first video, I kind of wanted a theme for all of these posters, and I'll put up some pictures of the Pinterest posts. I made a Pinterest board, so I'll put up some pictures of that. But I could not figure out the exact style I wanted for this sword, because the thing with this sword is that it's very neat, it's very sleek looking, the design is very simple. When I think of Bella, I think of chaos, of chaos, and also it's the eternal, so it's kind of like endless life, which things just like go by faster the older you are. So imagine if that's like for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so I wanted to encapsulate the feeling of chaos into this poster. We settle on a style later that I try, and then I realize it's actually probably impossible for me to do, which we'll get to when we get to it. But this was my first try. This is kind of me just messing around with colors and a new brush, and being like, what if I just do a poster without any, like, planning, basically. And now we're trying a different method where I'm like, I want the heart to kind of glow. This I get stuck on a lot, that I'm like, I want the heart to glow. I want, like, rays of light coming out from the heart, because it's like a good focal point for the sword. It's the only other color besides the handle that isn't purple. So I'm like, it's a good starting point, maybe. So we messed with this for a while, and I actually don't know. Oh, this was the fire. Okay. I knew I wanted some flame motif in it, so I was like, okay, I was looking through some photos, and there's this specific style of drawing fire that I wanted to try, and I go like all in trying it in this. Right now I'm still messing with the rays, trying to figure out an effect, because I thought the rays by themselves looked too simple, so I was like, maybe we add a circle. And the thing is, I think this looks fun. It looks interesting, it looks cool. You'll see when I add the fire that it's a bit much. But this is just me kind of messing around with the light source once again, because I want the heart to glow. And just being way too, I think, particular might be the word. Just doing a lot of things without any plan, and then being like, I hate it. And then starting over, which is a theme in this montage. So I think in a second, you'll see I start the fire. Yeah, this very specific style of fire. And I also decided to color it all in by hand with a like 15-point brush, because I hate myself. And if you're asking, Benji, do you do that for the entire ring of fire that you're drawing? Do you color it in by hand like this? And the answer is yes. And now I'm messing with gradients, because I'm like, the fire can't be one color. That's boring. So we're adding different shades of blue. You'll see that throughout this also I get really stuck on the color blue, which is another thing that was frustrating, because when I would be done, I'd be like, there's too much blue, and then I would start another page or whatever, and then I would draw in blue, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, there's so much blue because you keep drawing in blue. It was just the whole process. So this is me just doing flames. And the thing is, I think these flames look cool. I think in another, like, project, I could draw these flames and they would look fine, you know? They're, like, very skater vibe. You would see these flames on the bottom of a skateboard is the vibes that I get, and that wasn't really what I was going for with this sword poster. But I, like, fully committed, and I drew it all around, and then I colored it all by hand like a crazy person. But, you know, if nothing else, I learned how to draw flames like this, which was cool. All this coloring in. This is the longest part of this. It took, I think, like 40 minutes of this in real time was me just coloring it in. And then at the end, I was like, I hate it. Which is so crazy. It's a crazy thing to do. But sometimes that's just what doing art is, especially digital art, because I don't plan a lot of digital art because I'm like, if I hate it, I could just delete it and I get another file and it's fine. It's not like painting where you have to get a whole new canvas and you're like spending money on paint. So it's like you can just be kind of a bit more free. That's the way I feel like personally with digital art. And oh my god, this coloring section is so long. Oh, coloring section is so long and it's not even done yet. And maybe also as these failed attempts go, I'll like pop up a PNG of the quote unquote finished project, because I once again think they look cool. Also, finding the colors for these was awful because the brush I'm using is like a pastel / crayon-y brush. So color picking from it is like so rough, and I didn't put color swatches anywhere, obviously. This I did smarter, kind of, because I didn't just color it in with such a small brush. I selected it and then just kind of scribbled, which was a lot easier and actually kind of fun. Like, these flames were very, like, mindless to draw once I understood the structure of them, which was fun. It's kind of like, if you've ever done those drawings where it's just a bunch of spirals and it's like quote-unquote therapeutic, it kind of felt like that. And then I just didn't vibe with it. But we're coloring in, we're making the gradients. I decided to delete the light blue because I'm like, the flames look kind of cool without the light blue, and they're kind of more contrasty. I was like, that's fun. We add some black, and then I think we add some white details too. Oh, this is me. This is when I start to fall apart, where I'm like, something has to happen with this to make it better, and then I give up soon. Because I'm like, I just can't. Oh yeah, this. I had a background because I'm like, maybe that'll make it better. It doesn't. But I think this is cool. I think this is like a cool, like, rock band poster or something. It's just not the vibe I was going for, but it looks fun. And now we start again, and I don't remember what this was. Oh, this was the rib cage. I get stuck on this a lot too, because I'm like, when I think of Bella, I think of Deep Dark and Warden, because they had a Warden in their base, and they just went to the Deep Dark. I think the most out of all of us. So I'm like, maybe I can do something with a Warden design. So I drew this rib cage because the Warden chest is like a broken rib cage with the blue, if you've seen you know what it is, with blue like soul sand faces in the middle. So I'm like, maybe we can do that around the sword, because that's kind of cool. I've drawn rib cages before. I really like them. You can do some fun effects with light in them. And then I mess with glow effects, and I'm just like, the problem with this one is, once again, I thought it was cool, but there was no direction to the poster. And that's the thing, I think, with all of these, is that I didn't know what I was going for. I just had a vibe I wanted to capture, and that wasn't enough for my brain to work with, which I've learned throughout this process, which is fun, I guess. But I'm stealing the lines from the other poster I did, because I'm like, I'm gonna show all these posters, so I'm just gonna yoink it. I think it looks fun. The make the faces glow like that. And then I mess with the ribcage some more. I know for this one I also had fire somewhere. Oh, after making a warden that I messed with for so long, and I honestly don't even know if it will be visible in the video because it was just... I wanted the impression of a warden in the background for some reason. Because I was like, if I can just make it work, it would be such a good, like, framing thing. And then I couldn't get it to work. So I abandoned that after doing, like, 10 different tries. It's fun now that I just know what the shape of a warden is off just the top of my head, because I've looked at an image of a warden for reference just so much. But I try a bunch of stuff. And this is like through the course of multiple days. This is through the course of like half a week of me just working on this stupid poster. Oh, I add a border. I'm like, maybe that'll help because I like order in my posters and drawings. It doesn't. But this is like, I know I keep saying the same thing over and over. I'm like, this is a cool drawing. It's like fun and interesting. It's just not what I wanted. And now I'm adding a map, because another thing I was like about Bella is that they just traveled a lot. They just went exploring a lot. So I'm like, maybe a good background for this would be a map. And I also like drawing like fantasy-esque adventure-y maps. I color it all in by hand once again, like a crazy person. And it just looked a bit too cluttered. It didn't relate to the sword at all in an obvious way. like this frame right here, that's a fine, like if I was still posting on Instagram every day, I would just probably post it like this and be done with it. But we're trying to make art I enjoy. We're trying to make art I enjoy without burning myself out, which I know you're probably watching this and being like, you've done like 3 different iterations of this poster, and isn't that like going to burn you out? But I was taking breaks. I was like desperately being like, don't stress out about it. When you reach a roadblock, just take a break, which I did. And then also, before, when I was posting every day on Instagram, I would be really hard on myself when I would get to like a piece of art that I did that I hated. I'd be like, gosh dang it. And it would be really frustrating. But this was kind of like, I obviously wish I didn't have to draw 10 million pieces, but it was kind of like an exercise of me being like, it's fine. You learned some new things. You can stop and you can come back later. So it was fine. And now I'm messing with fire, because that was on my Pinterest board a lot, was fire. And I was like, there needs to be another color besides blue. And I like how these flames turned out. I was doing them with a pastel pen that I had never used before. But the type of drawing, like the style of these flames, were too different to the style of the ribcage. So I was like, I hate it. And now we're starting on another one. I'm doing the lines again. Glowing from the heart. And I don't actually remember where this one goes. I do a bunch more lines, and then I think it's just the same vibe. And then I think I tried the warden thing again for this one. Doing the lines, coming from the heart, trying to make it work. Fun fact, in the end poster, I do get it to work. So that's fun. I'm doing some light on the sword, thinking that'll help. And the thing with this is that I didn't like how much it hid the view of the sword. It's like you could see the lines and not the sword. And I did not like that. This was also one of the last failed posters I did was this one, so I was like fully done. I was like, I just need something to work. Oh yeah, and this, me trying to figure out a structure for this poster. Desperately trying to like grab onto anything. I'm like, Bella's favorite color is green. And then I change it to blue, and then I change it to black. I'm like, maybe I'll do a thing in the middle that's like a warden glow. I didn't even record me drawing that. It's another like rib cagey thing of the warden. And then I do a bunch of different framing, and it just, guess what? Doesn't work. But those are all of the failed posters, or well, those are most of the failed posters, because this next one I really thought would be it. I really thought it would be it, so much so that yesterday I edited the video and I sped it up for me to watch, and I named it Final. And then I woke up the next day, looked at it, and I was like, this isn't right. It's just not right. So we're gonna watch this, and it's gonna be a little slower because I really thought this was gonna be the one. So we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. So this is starting at the end of the last poster. I decided to scroll through my Pinterest, and I was like, what do I want? And I was like, I want a poster that is like ethereal. I want the sword to feel eternal and dreamy and kind of like not real in a way. So that's what this poster was supposed to do, and I think it did that almost perfectly. It's a style I've worked in before. It's these stars that I love to draw. It's just trying to make it feel like a dream. And it looks really good in the end, which is the sad part. But it just wasn't correct. And you'll see as we go why. It's just so blue. I don't know why I was so, I mean, I know why. It's because the heart on the sword. But I was so caught up with the color blue that when I finally got away from that, we finally got to the finished poster. But we're drawing some clouds because I'm like, we need something at the kind of bottom of this illustration to even it out. I cheat a little by using a cloud brush and then lining over it a little bit to follow the shapes. And it's fun. I love drawing clouds. I love drawing stars. I love drawing landscapes like that. If like skyscapes, I guess is the word. It's something I used to draw a lot of because it was just so simple and you could mess with a bunch of different gradients and like 80% of them looked good. But this is just really simple, and it's it's really nice. But it's just so not the thing of this poster that made me go, no, this isn't it, was going back to thinking about what a poster for Bella's sword would look like. And I kept being like, it needs to be more chaotic. And this was not chaotic. It's very like calming, dreamy, and just not chaotic. So we'll continue watching, but in the end we just go in a pretty opposite direction. But this was a good fun exercise in drawing clouds again. Haven't done that in a hot minute. In working with it was basically I did like a color palette challenge because I'm just using shades of blue. Except for the sword, obviously. And now I'm drawing so many bubbles. I think that's the last of this specific time lapse, is just me drawing bubbles, because it's a good thing to do if you want to make something look shiny and dreamy. Yeah. It's a good thing if you want to make good thing to do if you want to make something look dreamy. Oh my god, words are so hard. I'm in a little overboard, and then I drew more stars, and then it looks like a skyscape, and then I do some texturing in a bit, which is different texturing than the other poster, but I like, and then I think I do some like a light prism with a brush I just have on Clip Studio Paint. Textures. I love textures in Clip Studio Paint because it's such an easy thing to just put on a piece and it makes it look more done. This is me searching for the prism brush, because I wanted color. I wanted it to look like sky rays. And then that's the finished poster. And do you guys see what I mean by being like, it's a good poster. It's a good drawing. It's just not it. Like, I love it. And if it was any other sword, like, I might just make this poster with a different sword, honestly. But that was this that I thought was gonna be it. And then today, actually, as I'm recording, I was like, I gotta do something else. I gotta do it better. And we do it better. And this is our actual final time lapse for this video of the actual final poster we went with for this sword. So let's just get right into it in 3, 2, 1, go. So we start with actual planning. Wow. Could have just done this from the beginning, and I will be doing this with the next sword. I swear to God. So we're doing thumbnailing, which is something I don't usually do. Because I like to just like get into it. But we're doing some thumbnailing. I was gonna do 3, and then I decided I really like the second one, so we just do this. I make the sketch really big and then use it as like an extremely vague reference on what I want to do. And also, I completely forgot about this. This is when I realized the style I wanted to do was Impressionism, because the colors are, it's less focused on the details and more focused on the way light shines, and it's like very focused on capturing just a snapshot of life in a way that feels chaotic to me. And then I realized I don't think it's possible for me to do this art style, at least digitally, because I'm colorblind. So it was really hard for me to pick colors without a reference, because I'm trying to draw something that doesn't have a reference, which is floating islands. Like, I think if I did like a still life, it would be easier for me, but I just couldn't. I have colors down there that I'm like, maybe picking from that will be helpful, and it does not work. But after that, I'm like, I don't know what style to do this poster in. And I figured that the way I have to do this for my brain is to kind of say, screw the style, even though in the first episode I was like, we're gonna do a poster, and each poster's gonna have a style. I had to like kind of drop that for this poster, because it was so frustrating. Because it was like, the thing with the diorite sword was that The first poster I did that I scrapped, it was I focused too much on the sword, not enough on the style. So I scrapped it. The thing with this is that I was focusing too much on the style and not enough on the sword and what I wanted to be in the poster. So I finally do that in this. We keep the rays, we keep the glow. I think it turned out really good here. And I just kind of focus less on a style I'm trying to replicate and more on what I want the poster to look like, what I want to be in the poster, the vibe, the feeling of the poster. And I think me letting go of the need to be on like a specific style guide was extremely freeing. So we named the sword. Did I spell eternal right? I think so. If not, I'll correct it later. But we're doing this, and I'm like, it's like almost done. Those islands there, I do decide to get rid of, so don't get too attached. But I should have talked about it when I was doing it, but I did all of those islands with the lasso fill tool, which even though I don't keep them, I learned that I really loved using the lasso fill tool. Also, this is me trying to cheat the like impressionism vibe because I thought that artist filter would like make it look like it, and then it just didn't work. So I was like, okay, fine, you're not gonna let me cheat, Clip Studio. This is me being like, the islands look weird. They look a bit odd. And I'm like, maybe I just need to add things on top of them. So I'm like, Bella had a creaking island, and then there's also one with trees and flowers, which is what these islands are, by the way. It was supposed to be Bella's base. And then I think it turned out fine, and then I was like, it just looks so out of place on the poster. That's me messing with the filters again. But as I was saying, the lasso fill tool was really fun to use, and even though the only thing I keep that I used it for is the beacon down there, I really liked using it. I think I will use it more in future projects. But enough of that. This bit, which is the like final, we're finally at the home stretch. I was like, we need some red. Bella like jumped in lava so much just for fun and like just always had TNT. We need some chaos that is an explosion. So I draw this. I think it turned out really good. Love the colors. And then I'm like, something needs to be in the middle. I tried the TNT and I was like, I hate it. I was like, it needs to be something circular. So I'm like, an Eye of Ender, because Bella always had Ender pearls in their inventory. And I chose an Eye of Ender because I just thought it looked more interesting visually than an Ender pearl. So we picked that. And then this is the final poster I keep. And it's just so much better. And if you ask me what style it is, I don't know. I simply don't know. It's like a cohesive style that's different from the Diorite Sword, and that's all I wanted at the end of this. So we draw an Eye of Ender, which for a stylized Eye of Ender, for my first time doing it, I think it turned out really cool. And we're just doing some more details in the background, and then also we add some more fire details just for some fun. And then I'm like, there needs to be more red in this corner. So we cut out this this area because I'm also like, it shouldn't be completely uniform. Because we're trying to get some chaos in here. So I cut out that corner, that square, and we make a little cave scene here. I messed with this lantern for a bit before deciding it just doesn't look good. But we try a few times. And then we get some TNT in here because I was so desperate to get like a TNT block in here. So I finally did it. And then we do the lantern once more. And then I just decided to go with glowberries because I like glowberries. And they're just so much easier to do. And it also makes it look more like a cave. And the shorthand for it is like much more recognizable than a lantern, I feel like. And then we draw some shulker boxes that I also just color pick from because I was like, I can't remember what a shulker box looks like. Do this because Bella just had shulker boxes everywhere all the time. So we're doing that, and then we get this cool little cave scene in the corner of this poster, which is fun and interesting, and it's not like in a box. It's not like completely uniform, and I think it turned out so fun and good. So fun and good. Look at it. I'm just so happy. I spent after like spending a week like going after poster to finally end up with something so exactly what I wanted. And I'm so happy. It's Bella's sword. There's a beacon because Bella had like 6 beacons at their base. There's TNT, there's fire, there's an Eye of Ender. It's just perfect, and I love it so much. And that's, what more can I say? I think the colors turned out good, and we're doing some more texturing, because I want, even though all the posters are different, I kind of want them to like, kind of look the same, you know? But that is it, and that is our final poster. Finally. This was like such an adventure. So many processes. I think like so much more than the diorite sword. Because there were just so many like redos and failures, and I think that last poster you saw me draw was named Final Please because I was just like so desperate to get it right. But I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it. I think we got to a good spot, obviously. Like, obviously if I had 10 million years to work on this poster, I would change it over and over and over again, but that's not really the point, right? But that is it for this episode. We have one final sword after this, and then that will be it. And then we will have some surprises, maybe. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!